Should we bring back national service for young people? Joining us now to discuss this from Edinburgh is writer Charlie Peters. And via Skype, Major Chris Hunter joins us also. Welcome to you both. I'll pose that question to you. First of all, Charlie Peters, is it a good idea bringing back national service?
I don't think it is. I think it'll harm the ability for Britain's armed forces to perform effectively, and it'll damage the bond between other generations and young people today. I think we need to trust young people to go about lives in their own way, allow them to pursue future careers voluntarily, and not force them into a service which they may have no interest in doing and may damage their future.
Major Chris Hunter, why should they be forced into a service that they have no interest in?
Well, I think, first of all, national service is serving your nation. Conscription is forced national service. So I think, we have to sort of differentiate between military service, enforced conscription into the military, and actually doing something for your country. As JFK said, it's not so much what your country can do for you, it's what you can do for it. It's paying something back. It's teaching people about teamwork, about patriotism, about honour, about, belonging, and about, the fact that there's something greater than themselves. I joined the army at 16. I loved it. I definitely wouldn't recommend enforcing military service, but there are so many other things like the National Citizen Service that could be done that I think would really benefit the country and individuals.
Charlie Peters, do you see any of the benefits at all? Some of the things that Major Chris Hunter is talking about there, the benefits that can be brought to society as a whole?
I do, yes, but Major Chris Hunter is looking at the hole in the barn door without looking at the barn door itself, which is to say he's not taking a look at the wider picture. The cost of national service will be extraordinary, and as the British Army, we're talking about the military service in particular here, dwindles by 30,000 troops since 2010, giving it the responsibility of looking after hundreds of thousands of young people is going to be a huge cost, and it will distract from the professionalism of the armed forces and will bankrupt the taxpayer further.
Major Hunter, it's going to cost a lot more, and it'll be a burden on the taxpayer.
I think, what Charlie said there is correct in terms of, looking at it solely from the military context. But we're talking about national service here. There are so many things that people could do, that young people could do to benefit our country that actually would be, at worst, cost neutral. There are support to the emergency services, of course, the police, the fire service, the ambulance service. There are community projects, and those are the sort of things that the National Citizen Service that was brought in by David Cameron, actually, those are the things that they try to aspire towards. There are literally tens of thousands of young people have gone through that programme in the last few years, and not only have they paid back something, significant to society and their local communities, they've actually developed as individuals as well. They've learned how to do public speaking. They've learned about teamwork. They've learned skill sets that they would never have learned in their sort of natural domain, the landscape in which they were used to. And the other point I'd like to add is that, I joined the army when I was 16. I finished as a major in the army. I was decorated for gallantry by Her Majesty the Queen. I had a successful career, but actually when I was 15 years old, prior to joining the army, there was a very high likelihood that I would have gone to prison. I'd certainly gone off the rails. I didn't really have any idea or concept about belonging, about teamwork, about paying something back, about the fact there's something greater than ourselves. And actually, joining the army at 16 saved me. I'm not saying by any means we should suggest people are enforced into joining the army, but definitely they should be enforced and encouraged to do something for their country at an early age.
Charlie Peters, what about that point? In 2015, Prince Harry actually said that he would be in favour of national service being reintroduced in this country. He said, without a doubt, it does keep you out of trouble. It can actually serve the individual as well as society. Absolutely,
but Prince Harry and Major Chris Hunter are both men who enjoyed running around with a rifle and jumping into ditches and fighting. Most young people don't. And on the broader point about service to the country outside of the military, I agree, those are important things to do, but they should be voluntary. An important part of service is sacrifice, knowing that you want to do something for your country and knowing that you're doing it on your own time with your own resources, not that the state is forcing you to do so. Britain is a gentle nation, it's a powerful nation, but it expects its citizens to obey because it is worth obeying. If we force people to behave, then we'll suffer.
And Major Chris Hunter, we must leave it there. Thank you very much for sharing your views with us on that, and I'm sure there's much more to discuss on whether national service should be reintroduced. Thank you both.